On this week's episode of the BS Show, we dive into the Switch 2 and more. Before we jump in, don't forget to stay connected with us on all socials at the BS Show GG. Love what you're hearing. Share support by liking this episode, dropping a comment with your thoughts, sharing this episode, and subscribing to keep up with all our future content. Want us to review a game or us to answer your questions? Drop your recommendations and questions in our comments below. I'm Blake, and with me as always is Steve. Welcome everybody to another fantastic episode of the BS Show. I have had a lot of gaming going on. I'm going to get right into this game. It just came out, Dune Awakening. I've been trying to get you to play it, Steve. You haven't really played it yet, have you? Or have you? I know I saw you. I think you created the character, but you haven't really played much, have you? No, I haven't touched it yet. So I have, as of right now, I have 20 hours already on it. I'm going to talk about this game a little more when I go into the questions, but that's pretty much where like a lot of my time has been this week. You know me, I love open world survival crafting games, and that's exactly what this is. And I've just been in love with it. Besides that, I've been playing, obviously League. Not really much besides that. I said I've just been really been big on the Dune Awakening. How about you, man? What have you been up to this past week?
Yeah, so kind of like how I mentioned last week, my buddies that I play game with quite a bit. They recently got super obsessed with the First Descendant, and I've just been on the grind, man. I love
what was the First Descendant? Was that the one that had like the bunny outfit for the chick?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. I love me a good looter shooter, and like I love Warframe. Warframe is like one of my favorite games of all time. So when we were like talking, trying to figure out like, oh, what game should we get? What game should we play? What game should we play? I always I was trying to push them towards Warframe, and it's like, oh yeah, that looks interesting, but then it doesn't really give you like some sort of like end game to like work for, and to like basically there's no point in the grind is what a lot of people kind of tend to think about. It's like why am I grinding so much? What am I doing? It's just for cosmetics, just to be a little bit stronger. What's the point of being a little bit stronger if there's no like raids, there's no events or bosses or any of that stuff? Where a game like the First Descendant, Destiny kind of have a lot of that, where it's like you have these big events, you have these big raids, you have these big bosses that come up that you can tackle. Obviously, you have like the hard mode, and you have all these other different things, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm enjoying the crap out of it right now.
So I guess that's probably going to be your answer to these questions I got. So this first one I got for us and for our listeners are, what game are you currently obsessed with?
I wouldn't necessarily say I'm obsessed with any game at the moment. Like it's kind of a weird dynamic. I think like the last game I was like properly obsessed with when I first started playing it was TFT. And I started playing TFT probably like a year ago. I can't remember. What was it like about a year ago when we started playing?
Yeah. I mean, you play way more than I do.
I got like literally completely obsessed to the point where it was like I was waking up, I was going to the gym, I was
watching streams.
Listening. I was listening to YouTube videos while I'm at the gym working out, like thinking about comps. I got a coach, and like I remember I told you, it's like I got a coach. It was my first season playing, and I played the crap out of it. It's like I thought so much about TFT, and like everything I was doing was revolving around TFT. Granted, I wasn't working at the time, so I was able to kind of pull you and spend a little bit more time playing games and enjoy myself. But yeah, it was
sounds to me like you're envious of my situation right now.
Oh, definitely am, for
sure. For me, like I said, Dune Awakening, dude. I already got 20 hours in on it, and I was trying to get Sam to buy it too, but he thinks it looks fucking stupid. And I again, I was a huge fan, excuse me, of H1Z1 Just Survive, which was, again, your open world survival game. It's your base building. I mean, there's so much shit going on. It reminds me of No Man's Sky, but in the desert. You get the vehicles really cool. The only thing that I don't like is the vehicles and stuff like that. You repair and shit like that, which I mean, I'm totally fine having repair, but you'll notice that like I'm going to call it like the durability of each component of the vehicles like lowers. So like when you first make the item, like let's just call it the sand bike tread, it's, like 100 out of 100 durability. And as you repair it more and use it more, that durability goes down. So basically what that means is like, let's just say you need to repair your bike. Well, you may only be able to repair it up to 50. And once that gets low enough, I end up just having to make like all new parts for that sand bike. And I don't know if like in the future if like I'm not to a point yet where you can actually, get it all the way back up to 100, but that's like the only thing that kind of sucks. And it's like, there's a lot of exploration that has to be done for the crafting of the things. Like there's a lot of, intel sites you got to go to and campsites and shit like that to find specific items to craft this. So like I find myself spending, 20 minutes just driving across the desert to get to these zones and then, farming the ore and going to these camps to pick up certain items that I need. And it's just like, it's such a time sink, dude. But I love this kind of game. I love the style. I mean, I'm just a huge survival crafting, looting, kind of person. So this next question I got is, how do you feel about toxicity in multiplayer games, and do you think that gaming companies are doing enough to combat it?
I mean, you kind of know how I feel about it. I think it should be like a no, like they shouldn't allow it like whatsoever. I think it's one of those things
like
where it's
zero
like,
tolerance policies.
Yeah.
But okay, what do you consider? Okay, toxicity.
I mean,
do you consider?
You're toxic.
No, oh my god, no, I'm not.
Yeah, you are.
The little trash talk, dude. Okay, we come from an era of shit talking Call of Duty lobbies. Like you can't even say any of that stuff now at all.
Yeah, but it's at the same time, it's like we were younger at the time, and it's like we've grown up and we kind of understand. It's like not everyone is able to play the games the way everyone plays it, and the thing is like too, it's a lot of the times when you kind of notice like people are being toxic is because someone is calling them out on doing something, and then it's like instead of owning up to their mistake, they then in turn start becoming toxic and start calling out every single little mistake that other person does. That's why it's like I know I've kind of told you, it's like I don't want to play League with you because that's kind of one of the things you tend to do. It's like someone will say something, oh, you're doing this wrong or whatever, and then it's like, oh no, you're not doing this, you're not doing this, you're not doing this.
Yeah, because I get blamed for everything just because I'm the jungler, and it makes me get fucking pissed off and toxic. Because usually I leave chat on, and which is my first mistake, and then once people start saying shit, I mute all and just listen to the pings, and it's like.
Yeah.
I'll have my top laner spam pinging me while I'm clearing my bot camps. And then it's like, I'll go clear my top camps, and then my bot lane is spam pinging me, talking shit, saying jungle diff, or like, oh, why aren't you getting objectives? But yet nobody rotates to help me. So it's like, yeah, I get defensive because I'm like, you guys aren't helping me whatsoever. Like, I'm not just going to go 1v5 fucking Rift Herald or, 1v4 the Drake, because the enemy mid laner, their jungler.
But the thing is, like, when you're being toxic in return, it's not necessarily resolving in any kind of issue. It's just creating even more toxicity.
No, I agree. It's just I wish people had to play the role, and it's mainly this game. It's mainly League that is super fucking toxic for me. Yeah. It's
I've seen.
I come back. I haven't played Call of Duty in so long, but you're right. I mean, I do give it back. When people say shit to me, I 100% give it right back. And
well, no, even if like, because like you've like said stuff to me when we played League, and I was like, I've never played this game before.
What have I said to you?
I can't remember. I think it was like you were telling me I needed to rotate or something like that, and I was like, what the fuck is that?
How do you not know what rotate means?
Well, no, it's like I don't know when I'm supposed to be rotating and all that stuff, and you're telling me things like it's like I've been playing that game for fucking 30 years.
I was coaching you. Just telling you to rotate with me.
No.
Yeah, so I'm gonna agree with you. I think games are doing enough to combat it. I mean, League they give you a bunch of warnings, like you get chat bans. I've never been suspended or nothing like that, but
well, I don't know if you saw that Riot is introducing something where it's
the anti-griefers.
If it detects that you're doing like playing like some weird way or whatever, or like you're purposely killing yourself and all that stuff, it's gonna automatically ban you.
Yeah, so I actually don't agree with that because there are a lot of niche picks. Like I've seen people play like Bard top lane, which normally you don't do, but like for some people it works. And there's a big streamer and pro player. His name is Boss. He played a champion called Scion, and his whole thing was inting and taking advantage of Riot's or League of Legends bounty system, right? So like you die, somebody kills you so many times, you get increased gold for killing them back. So he would not intentionally die, but like he wouldn't really care about dying. So he'd win a game and his score he'd be like 2-15. Because he would just get so much gold by using that bounty system. And, I do agree though with what they're doing, because there are people who will like soft end. They'll intentionally feed the game, but they'll make it, they'll make it look like that they're trying, they'll throw an ability out or two. Like I just had a brand, like 2 or 3 games ago that just sat under turret and didn't do anything for like the whole game. And then just like I'd go to help him out and he would just stand there. So like shit like that really fucking pisses me off and has no place in the game. And I'm glad that they're doing shit about it. So this last question I got here. What game are you terrible at but love anyway?
I don't really think I play any games that I'm like terrible. That
ego.
That I enjoy.
Ego much?
No, I mean I think I'm pretty average at like every game that I enjoy. Like I wouldn't say I'm not saying I'm like great at every single game. Like TFT, I peaked at Diamond. And again, I love TFT, World of Warcraft. It's like, yeah, I played it. I think I did pretty okay. It's like I wasn't terrible. I wasn't great. I'm trying to think like what other game I played like a crap ton. Yeah, I don't really know. Like maybe like Elden Ring. Like I enjoyed Elden Ring and I wasn't great at it. Like I'm really bad at those games, but I enjoyed playing them. But again, I wasn't like obsessed with it. I don't love it. I'm not gonna go out of my way to play Elden Ring. That's such a hard question. I think I'm like perfectly average at like every game that I enjoy because I think it's just my personality. Like I like to spend time to get better at the things that I like. So it's like if I enjoy playing like if I got into like League and I really wanted to and I really enjoyed playing League, I would go out of my way to like watch YouTube videos on the champion that I'm playing to figure out like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do in this thing. This is what I'm supposed to do here. This is what I'm supposed to do if I'm this role, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I don't know.
See, I think I'm kind of like the same way. I would say League. I mean, again, I'm not terrible, but I'm also not good. Like I said, I always struggle. I always struggle with picking a champion or two, and I tilt. I'm not gonna lie, I tilt very fucking easily. But like I don't want to say I get obsessed with it. Like what I do, I'll like let's just say like right now, I'm playing a lot of Kiana mid. I'll go on TikTok and I'll watch videos. I'll watch YouTube videos and shit like that to try to get a better understanding. But like I'm not terrible at the game. I'm not terrible at these champions. But I wish I was better.
Gold is above average, right? Like I think like the average player base is what, like bronze,
silver, yeah.
Yeah, so you're probably like top 20% if you think about it. So it's like because I was like very confused too when I saw like some metrics on TFT and I only hit plat this season and I kind of over this set and I looked and I was like I'm top like 12% in North America and I was like what the fuck? I was like that's crazy. It's like I'm only plat and it's like you would think that it would be a lot higher rank.
Yeah, there's times like I think that guys should be higher because I've been playing like 2.5 years now. But like I look at it and like there's some people that like on my team or on the other team that do absolutely terrible. Or they'll be like I might play on like my bronze account or iron account with somebody, and I'm looking at some of these players and they've been playing since like season 5. And that's where they're at. So like I mean I'm progressively getting better, and I'm like I said I'm trying to narrow down my champion pool. It's just like I said, I play 99.99% of the time I'm playing jungle, and it's like I'll play a champion and then I'll get fucking diffed by somebody else, and I'm like, man, that champion looks fun. Or like I said, I play my main champ is Udyr. I have the highest smash on him. And he gets kind of boring to play. Like, I don't like playing. He's mainly an AP bruiser tank. And when you play like a tank as a jungler, like you rely a lot more on your teammates. So I play AD Udyr because that's like my favorite thing about him is he's like one of the like probably like the most versatile champ in the game. You can kind of build him however you want. But like I said, the AP version is a lot better, but it requires your teammate, you have to play around your teammates. And I understand League's a team game, but sometimes I try to focus more. I'll try to switch it up and be more of like a hyper carry, like an actual solo carry champion, like a Viego or something like that. But then it's like I haven't put the time in on those champions like I have Udyr, so I end up inting my games, you know what I mean? So yeah, so anyway, let's cut through BS Man and get right into this. So this one wasn't on our list, but I did want to talk about this because I had a question about it with you because I was kind of talking with Sam again about this. So you know who Team Liquid is, right? With World of Warcraft and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so they had an AWC team, which is the Arena World Championship team that consisted of Sea-Doo, Mess, and Sam I Am. That was their AWC team. Well, Team Liquid actually just dropped them. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because, we were talking about WoW PvP, me and Sam, and I'm like, it's just not what it was, 9-10 years ago, like when I played MOP and Kata, and we got into it about, it's not as accessible, right? So you see like these MIDI tournaments, I think they're called, with like the Mythic Dungeons and the rating, and that always has such high viewership. Tons of people are getting into it because it's super, super accessible, right? Anybody can hop into to dungeons. You just queue up, and it's that simple. So, what do you think World of Warcraft could do to make PvP more accessible?
I don't even think it's the accessibility. It's just
is it too much going on? But why? What is it then?
It's very difficult. Like, I think for something to be like successful, especially something that's PvP, like obviously you need some sort of, and I've said this multiple times, like esports needs to be like at the top of everyone's mind if you want some sort of competitive PvP to do well. And World of Warcraft Arena is just so difficult to watch. Like, you just don't know. Like, there's just a million things that are going on because each character has 30, 40 abilities that they're pressing like multiple times at a time. It's like, and it's hard to, like, unless you know the game, like, you can't go in there and you can't just sit there and watch a gameplay and know what's going on.
So, okay, so I had a feeling you were going to say that, so I wanted to ask you then, so, like, what's the difference between watching an arena and watching, the Mythic Dungeons shit?
Mythic Dungeons, there's not as much going on.
But you have five people still throwing out a bunch of abilities. I mean, I understand, like, what they're trying to do. They're trying to defeat the boss and not die to the mechanics. Is it that simple?
It's also a lot more popular of a game mode. Like, when you think about it, like, people aren't playing Arena because, one, there's no esports around it. There's like nothing. There's no point for them to, like, pro players, there's no point for them to push to get higher ranking because realistically, like, there's just not that many tournaments anymore. They got rid of BlizzCon. It's like multiple AWCs now, and it's like you're not even really getting that much of a prize pool compared to
$10,000 prize pool.
Yeah, compared to like what you would get for like winning. They have two humongous Mythic Dungeon tournaments with like the Great Push and MDI. So it's like, if you're like a top tier player, it's like, why would you do that? Why would you play Arena over playing a Mythic Dungeon?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I wish that they were more popular.
I think they need to do something kind of like how, I know you've kind of talked about it, like figure out a way to balance the game, like almost make it like a different game mode. Like, you load into
I think it should be like Guild Wars 2 and be completely free to play, and they have a whole separate little balancing team for it. They have like it seems like they have like two people balancing it, and it's just like the abilities from Mythic Dungeons and PvE always carry over to PvP, and it ruins the fucking game.
That's the hard part, because when you think about it, like, why would Blizzard spend the resources to fix something that isn't popular?
Oh, no, I agree. Yeah, I agree.
It's like, why would they balance their game around PvP when you maybe have like 200 people play PvP a day?
I wish they would put like PvP modifiers or PvE modifiers on ability, or like, one of the biggest complaints I see is like micro CC in arenas, and it's like a lot of that micro CC is because of Mythic Dungeons, and because they want it to be easier for newer players. So you have somebody like a Demon Hunter, right? Well, a lot of those bosses or ads, you have to interrupt so many, or kick this or stun that. And I feel like they introduced all these micro CCs as a way for a new player, like, okay, you fucked up, you missed your first one. Well, don't worry, you have two other CCs you can use. So I wish like things like that would be put into like, how we have PvP talents. I wish they had like PvE talents where they'd put some of that micro CC in and remove it from PvP.
And it's not just to make it easier. I think like obviously adding more buttons is going to make things harder, but I think the big reason they added the extra, like the button bloat and adding all these extra little micro CCs that we were kind of talking about is because, like, when you think about it, like the only way to really make these dungeons more difficult is to have them have more casts, things that have to get interrupted. If they go through, it's gonna be a wipe. Obviously, they hit harder, but that's really how the difficulty scales. And people only have one kick, and if you have 5 people and you're having like 10 things that have to get kicked in a fight, you have to give them the tools to be able to stop those casts. So that's kind of
I know, like, if you're in a random pickup, like, all 5 people are going to use their kick at the same fucking time. They're going to have nothing for the next one.
Yeah, and I actually heard something pretty interesting from Zaryu, who's like a big PvPer, and he's kind of shifted towards like PvE, and like he actually just started playing League too, and he kind of said how he thinks like World of Warcraft has kind of turned from like your basic like MMO to like more of like an ARPG, like Diablo, Path of Exile. And I actually kind of get it, because it's like, when you think about it, when you're playing those games, the whole point of those games is like you're pulling around like a crap ton of mobs, and you're just constantly spamming AoE. You're spamming AoE. The whole point of the game is to just do as much damage as possible in like the shortest amount of time, so you can kill as many things as possible. And that's kind of what WoW has become, it feels like.
That's why I probably have clocked in maybe an hour of WoW, and that was I hopped on my DK, did like a delve, I think it was, and I was like, yeah, I just can't. I'm just not enjoying it anymore. But
I was actually thinking about something when I can't remember if it was like last week or the week before, and you kind of know how like actually it was last week when we talked about Smite, because it was the whole third person view, and that's kind of why I enjoyed Smite more than like League, is because Smite kind of feels like you're playing like WoW. It feels like you're playing like a WoW RBG or whatever. It's like the fact that like Blizzard kind of failed with Heroes of the Storm because they were trying to kind of create something new. Why not just shift like World of Warcraft PvP into more of like a MOBA style gameplay? Something kind of like what they did with Plunderstorm, trying out BR, but like let you play your character. I think people would enjoy being able to take their own character. Like, I think Plunderstorm in general like would have been a lot more successful if like they let you take your own character. Yeah, because people grind. Not just your ability. Like, I don't necessarily think it's the ability thing. I think it's more so like being able to have your character there, because you transmog your character the way you want it to look. Like, everyone has their own transmog. Everyone has their own mount. So like, just little things like that. I think like Blizzard has a humongous back catalog of very like popular characters that people love. They have so many different options that they could go with. And I think like if they really tried, they could be very successful with like some sort of like third person top down like WASD MOBA, and maybe even have that be their WoW PvP.
That would be kind of cool. Think about that. So let's get on our next one real quick. So Resident Evil Requiem put out a trailer. So the trailer just came out. It's going to be the 9th title in the series, which is set to launch February 27th of 2026. And it looks like they're finally going back to their roots with zombies. Me personally, I lost a lot of interest in Resident Evil when they started making it like way too over the top, with like the big insects and shit like that, and maybe not even want to play it. But seeing this trailer actually has kind of got me a little hype for it, man. So you saw the trailer. What are you thinking of it?
I mean, it's definitely cool. Like, I'm kind of on the opposite side of the spectrum with you, which is like I've very much like enjoyed Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8. So it's for me, it's like either route they would have gone with. Like, I'm happy with that. I actually think it's pretty cool that they let you choose whether you want to play the third person or first person point of view. That's probably the one thing where I think it's going to bring in a lot of people, where it's like,
are you a first person or third person?
I'd have to play it. I'd have to see like what it's like, because what I was seeing is like there's certain missions where it's going to tell you this is better in third person and this is better in first person. And I'm sure there's probably like sections where it's like being in first person, these like jump scares are gonna hit you a lot harder compared to like being in what's it called, in third person, where you can kind of see stuff coming. So it's gonna be wait and see, but I actually think that's pretty cool. I like when games give you the opportunity to play like in different points of views, because all the people that played the old Resident Evils, it's like you're wanting to play third person. You want it to feel more like an old Resident Evil game versus like people that got into Resident Evil from 4, 7, or actually it didn't start until 7, with the third person portion of it, are going to feel more comfortable playing first person.
See, I wish they put a price point on this. I think I'm almost guessing it's going to be like a $60-$70 game.
Oh, probably, yeah. And I'll be fine. I'll be fine if it's $60.
See, I gotta.
That's the thing. It's like Resident Evil is a weird game because they tend to always be not very short, but they tend to be shorter. So when you think about it, it's like, is it going to be worth buying day one if it's $70-$80 for maybe 16, 17 hours? Probably not. But maybe it'll probably be around like that $50-$60 range. And they always go on sale, so it's one of those things. It's like maybe you could just wait till it's on sale.
A bunch of them are on sale right now. What I was thinking about doing is, so I already got 3 and 4 on my computer. I'm thinking about starting up and kind of working my way up the series until it gets released. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so before we get to our next topic here, don't forget to stay connected with us on all socials at the BSShowGG. And if you're enjoying this episode so far, please be sure to share the podcast and leave a comment. So another trailer that got put out was The Expanse. So The Expanse, Osiris Reborn, is a story-driven sci-fi action RPG developed by Owlcat Games, where you play as a Pinkwater security mercenary whose brief shore leave on the asteroid Eros spirals out of control. Trapped in a deadly lockdown and drawn into a solar system-wide conspiracy far beyond your control, you'll have to adapt, survive, taking command of the most advanced ship in the whole of the solar system. Gather a crew and find your own path through the web of lies and leave your mark on the solar system. No, that is not ChatGPT giving that description. That's the description from their website. So they have no official release date yet, but they have on their website, they've got 3 packs that you're able to purchase already. So you're going to have your standard pack or your standard edition, which was going to be $49.99. And that's going to include the game and an item and a Discord role. The next one they have is called the Miller's Pack, which is $79.99, which will include 2 outfits, an AR and revolver in the game. Your name will be in the credits, a Discord role, and a few other things. Then they got the Collector's Edition. I don't know if you happen to see this on their website, Steve, but they got this Collector's Edition, which is $289. And that's going to include a collector's box, a big art book, a spaceship figurine, some in-game skins and weapons, stickers, patches, like a medallion, your name in the credits, and a few other little cool things. I'm not sure, though, if like the spaceship and art book, / stickers, call for an extra $200. But, if you're that big of a supporter of the game and what they want to do with it, then, by all means, go for it. As far as the trailer itself, dude, the game actually looks really fucking cool. Reading a lot of comments on the videos and on Reddit, and I guess there's a lot of freaking hype around it, and with it being only $50 for that standard edition, I think this is 100% a game that I'm going to pick up too. We were kind of talking about this last week with Expedition 33, how they're more game, we need to support more, $40, $50 games. And this game is going to be right there in that wheelhouse. And I said, I think this is 100% going to be a game that I'm going to end up getting. So what'd you think of that trailer? I thought it was, like I said, fucking badass.
Yeah, it actually looks pretty cool. And I'm actually a big fan when games release big collector's editions. It's just a weird where it's a brand new IP. If it's something that's you've kind of been waiting on for a long time, it's big collector's edition is I can kind of see people wanting to spend money on it, or maybe even releasing the collector's edition after the fact. So you have people that enjoyed the game, and it's they're going to be willing to want to spend that extra money to have that little bit of extra swag for whatever it is. Like Baldur's Gate was a perfect example where it's they released the base game, and then almost like 6 months later, they released like this big collector's edition for like $300 that sold out almost instantly.
Damn.
Because people were just like so like they loved the game so much that they're just like, yeah, this is a game where it's like I want to have some sort of physical memorabilia surrounding this game. It's like I want this. It's like I want to spend the money on this, and it's like I'm fine when companies do that. And whether or not it sells out right away, who knows? Like it might just be more people kind of wanting to just wait, and maybe it's available like a couple months down the line, and yeah, we'll see what happens. But it does look pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm glad that they actually showed like in-game playing too. It actually looked good because like it's crazy. Like these trailers, dude, they look like fucking movies, for the game. And so like it's nice to see when they actually include the gameplay, in their previews. But yeah, I'm 100%. I'm 100% gonna get this game. So anyways, so this next one, Microsoft has decided to pause their development of their handheld system, for a few reasons, mainly being, just how competitive that handheld landscape is right now, given you have, the Steam Deck and, now you got the Switch 2, it's, going to be pretty hard for them to compete with the market. Instead, they're focusing more on like their collaboration with third-party manufacturers and, working with Asus and stuff like that. Do you think it is a good call to pull the development of that system or that handheld?
I'm actually fine with it. Like I was actually seeing a lot of people thinking that it's like a negative. Seeing it as a negative thing where it's like they're seeing Xbox kind of giving up on the whole idea of having a console. And again, we've talked about this multiple times where it's like Xbox is kind of trying to, or Microsoft is kind of trying to position Xbox as like you can game with anything. You can game on a Fire Stick. We want you to be able to play Xbox games wherever you want to play them. And instead of like designing their own hardware, because their hardware hasn't been doing very well, it's like, why not just focus on licensing the Xbox name to other developers that are pushing this hardware out, kind of like what they do with PC. Like Microsoft tends to kind of be like
the Xbox app on there.
Yeah, either the Xbox app or just run on Microsoft. Which I know there's a lot of like flack on like the Microsoft OS not being that great on handhelds and how it the Steam OS has just been kind of blowing them out of the water. But again, like this allows them to kind of work with these other developers to really perfect the operating system. Because when you think about it, like when you go to PC, it's no one is playing PC game. Like, I mean, obviously people are playing like on a Steam Deck and stuff like that, but like Steam tried to bring out their OS and in like computer type systems with their, I don't know if you remember like the old Steam machines. They were like these little like mini computers that they kind of marketed them as these are computers, but you have the Steam OS, so you can play whatever PC game or whatever Steam games you want to play. Just start right off Steam, and you can also do other stuff on PC. And it was terrible. It was not great, which is why kind of Steam shut it down. But Microsoft is just like the titan in terms of like overall like computer gaming. So I think they're kind of looking at it that way. It's like, why would we spend the time on developing our own hardware when we have other companies that are developing hardware? Let's just license our name out, and we can still make the same. They're probably still making the same amount of money, probably more, because they're not really spending any money on manufacturing. Now they can just kind of focus on getting these big games and really fixing their operating system.
That makes sense. I honestly, I'm going to just say I agree 100% with you on all that. It wouldn't make sense for them really to go in there. And I honestly, like Microsoft and Xbox is actually I think they're actually doing pretty good. They're finally, I think they're finally making a better name for themselves. And yeah. So anyway, before we get into our last topic here, don't forget to stay connected with us on all socials at the BS Show GG. And if you're enjoying this episode so far, please be sure to share the podcast and leave a comment. So the Switch 2 sets a new record for the fastest selling game console ever, selling over 3.5 million units worldwide just within 4 days of its release, which was on June 5th. I did not realize that there was like that much hype around the Switch 2. Given that it does have a higher price point than what the original came out for, And they're showing, how their games are like $70, $80 now, so I didn't think that it was going to be like that. They do have, the improved display, the enhanced Joy-Con controllers, the Game Chat 2 feature, and I guess they're projecting to make over $14 billion this year. Does this stuff really surprise you? You haven't picked up the Switch 2, right?
No, not yet.
No. Have you thought about getting it?
I'm thinking about it. I'm kind of waiting to see what other games are coming out on it. Like right now, there's nothing really that kind of drives me to wanting to get a Switch 2. Like, again, it's Mario Kart. Sure, that's great, but that's not really a seller for me when it comes to wanting a game like that or wanting a system like that. But like I said, it doesn't surprise me because there's Nintendo fanboys everywhere. Like people love Nintendo. People are always going to buy Nintendo games because people want to play the next Zelda game, the next Mario game, the next Pokemon game. Like games that only come out on Nintendo. Nintendo does very well at really managing those IPs. One of the really cool things that I actually liked that Nintendo did is they purposely just released. They had so much inventory that it's just making it incredibly easy for people to buy, and making it very difficult for people for scalpers to just go in there, buy everything out, and then sell it for like absurd prices on the secondary market.
Yeah, I think I don't think there was an issue with Xbox when the new one came out, but I know the PS5, dude. That's why I ended up buying an Xbox, is because I think I was waiting like 2 or 3 months, and I was like refreshing like Best Buy website like every day. And same thing with like GameStop and shit like that. And I couldn't get one. And like you said, people were literally I'm gonna call them bots. Were buying these up and flipping them for like double the fucking cost.
Yeah.
So like,
and I wonder how many like scalpers like went in there trying to just buy out a bunch of like Switch 2s only to find out that they were just like so much inventory available that they're just not making any money.
I'm looking at this, dude. They made a bunch of games for the Switch 2. Like, there's Cyberpunk 2077. You got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. I didn't realize that what was this? Split Fiction is on here for the Switch 2. I didn't realize that they had already ported all those to the Switch 2.
Yeah.
With it only being again, 10, not even 10 days old.
Yeah, but those games tend to not be like your big like Nintendo sellers. I think the big thing, like what's going to interest me more is like seeing how Switch sales are going to be looking like closer to Christmas once they start releasing more of their like Nintendo IPs. Like when we get the new Mario game, when we get the new Pokemon game that's going to come out, how that's going to push the Switch 2 sales even further.
Yeah, I know. I already told Megan this year we're buying Callie a Switch for Christmas. I'm going to say it's for her, but really it's so I can play it too. So anything else you want to talk about on this stuff for today, or are we good to...
No, yeah.
No? All right, man. So some new games that are coming out. You got Tron Catalyst is coming out on June 17th. You got Chronicles of the Wolf coming out June 19th. And then Star Overdrive is coming out June 19th as well. Some games that you... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. And I was going to say, and I guess like wanted to touch on this, a game that just like recently got released on PC with Stellar Blade. The fact that it became like PlayStation or Sony's like biggest seller on a different market, like basically day one, I think goes to show how important it is for these companies to look at releasing their games on every single platform
instead of just theirs.
It's a really good game. It's really fun. Like I think a lot of people kind of tend to make it more of like a gooner game because they have like a bunch of like anime girls with like big butts and big titties, but it's a super fun game.
I don't think I've even heard of that game, to be honest with you. Oh,
pick it up.
I'll look into it. Some games that you need to check out on Steam that are on sale right now. You got Hell Let Loose. The Ultimate Edition is 50% off at $34.99. Subnautica is 33% off at $20.09. Then you got Little Nightmares 1 and 2 bundle is 66% off at $21.83. And that's it for today's episode of the BS Show. If you enjoyed the unfiltered conversations, make sure to share this podcast and to follow us on all socials at the BSShowGG. Want us to review a game or us to answer your questions? Drop your recommendations and questions in our comments down below. We appreciate you listening, and we'll be back next week with more straight talk, no BS.